Everything you need to know about Puerto Rico can be described with the 3 R's. Rum, Ricky Martin, and recession. Even though Puerto Rico's been a part of the US for over a century, its status as a Commonwealth makes it un misterio for most Americans. But come on, folks. If you've been dating for over 100 years, don't you think it's about time you met the parents? Here are 5 things to know about Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans are US citizens. Let's clear some shit up right now. You do not need a passport to get to Puerto Rico. I don't have dual citizenship, and my parents didn't immigrate to Florida, they just moved. Puerto Rico has been a part of the US since this guy declared war against Spain in 1898. Laws in 1917 gave Puerto Ricans citizenship and their own Senate. By 1950, Puerto Ricans could elect their own governor, and they were declared a US Commonwealth. But 2 years prior, in 1948, the US had also passed a law prohibiting Puerto Ricans from talking about independence in public or displaying Puerto Rican flags, which pretty much cuts out a quarter of their wardrobe. In response, 4 members of the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party showed up to Congress and literally shot up the place in 1954. So independence is a touchy topic. Parrandas! Parrandas like the Puerto Rican equivalent of roving troubadours or Christmas carolers, but because it's Puerto Rico, they're loud and intense. Saludos, saludos, vengo a saludar. In fact, another word for parranda is asalto, because being bombarded by a bunch of drunk Puerto Ricans screaming on the holidays, banging on homemade instruments, is an assault on the senses. It's actually a lot of fun, and it beats the shit out of watching suburbanites in Santa hats wheezing Silent Night outside a strip mall. Food! Here's how I eat when I'm with Puerto Rican relatives. You start the morning off with un cafecito. You move on to those crackers from the giant green Keebler tin. Then you move on to your juguito. Everything's ito, by the way. Shit in Puerto Rico's like so cute while you're eating. Then the farina's ready. Then someone pulls a stack of pancakes out of their ass with a side of sorujitos wrapped in like 5 layers of tin foil. Then we get served this weird wet cheese with guava paste, followed by ham and cheese sandwich, but cut into tiny little pieces with toothpicks in it. Then it's like mad fruit. Bowls of fruit, stacks of fruit, chopped fruit, mango fruit, all the fruit. And then at this point, just when I feel like I've been f***ed by an elephant, my grandma will turn around and throw some scrambled eggs on my plate, along with a baby pig's worth of bacon. Then she refills my coffee, because that's just breakfast. Why we're broke. When you bring up the debt crisis in Puerto Rico, a lot of Americans take this opportunity to complain about the island they turned into a colony over 100 years ago. There's this idea that Puerto Ricans aren't pulling their weight, so here's a reminder of what and how Puerto Ricans are expected to pay the government. Puerto Ricans pay about 60% more than the average state in Social Security, but they receive about 1/3 less in Medicare and Medicaid. Puerto Ricans pay insane utility rates. In 2013, the cost of running AC in Puerto Rico was almost 3 times higher than it was in the state of New York. And as a hairy motherfucker who left his AC on for 5 months straight last summer, that's not cheap. Puerto Ricans have to deal with the Jones Act. It was a law passed in 1920, and basically it means that all goods going into Puerto Rico have to come on US ships, even if those goods happen to pass Puerto Rico on the way into the US. The University of Puerto Rico estimates that in 2010, this lost the island $537 million. I know, everything I said sounded really complicated, but when you are understanding the factors that contribute to Puerto Rico's debt crisis, that shit's the easy part. Big banks and firms were eager to buy up Puerto Rico's debt last year and then make a profit by cutting public services and raising taxes. If this sounds totally unreasonable, that's because it is. When this happens to US cities, they can restructure their debt by declaring bankruptcy. States can't declare bankruptcy, but when they face debt issues, the 10th and 11th Amendment give them a little autonomy in figuring that out. Puerto Rico is neither. They can't declare bankruptcy, and they aren't offered equivalent states' rights. So this is a point where me and Elizabeth Warren got real pissed.
During the financial crisis, when the banks were in trouble, Treasury did a lot more than just bail them out. And now the people of Puerto Rico are calling.
Guys, let's take a moment to commemorate what might be the first time a white lady from Massachusetts understood how Puerto Ricans were feeling. How to find things in stores. A lot of people visiting Puerto Rico don't speak Spanish and think it'll be easy to get around. We can address the ironies of that another time, but luckily, capitalism is here to save the day. No matter where you go, brands are the same. They just sound a little different. Hungover? Ask for Advil. Baby daddy woes? You're gonna need Pampen. Chapped lips? Just ask for Burst Beef. Ajá, ese mismo. Ajá, el suavecito, el que sabe miel de abeja. Ajá, no, déjame enseñarte. Mijo, no. Well, we didn't even get to cover some of my favorite stuff about Puerto Rico, like El Morro or Bad Drivers or those mountains named after boobs. But if you want to know more about Puerto Rico, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll even bring my grandma on the show. Maybe.